so happy we alive.
Right thing at the right time, and then reform happens. You create space for reform to happen. So as this growing concentric circle of professional and civic organizations reform from the center, we really are unstoppable. Now take a look at all the other, what I call spheres of influence at this table. We have really, and I don't like to look at it in a vertical way. It's not that the grassroots are at the bottom, you know, they're not any lesser. There's spheres of influence, the patients, those who need it, those who want to use it, those who are, like Vivian, I think, more than anyone else, is the voice of those who need it and want to use it. Allison, in the legal establishment, defending the rights of those who need it and want to use it. Now, however, I have to distinguish between Allison's role as a defense attorney and my role in the Bar Association at large. Defense attorneys are marginalized in this debate. Oh, well, you're just trying to protect your clients. You have a vested interest. The Bar Association at large, most lawyers don't go to court. They just engage in transactional business and that sort of thing. And so we have to appeal to a different a different set of principles, and it's pretty easy. One is administration of justice. We aren't administering justice in this country, and the drug laws are the principal impediment to that. The courts are clogged, and the way these laws are implemented is an egregious example, the disproportionately adverse effect on minorities and the poor. So we are not administering justice. That's number one. Number two, respect for the law. We want to promote respect for the law. If there's anything that's degrading respect for the law, it's the drug laws. So we look at a cop, we think he's after us, rather than looking at a cop and thinking, well, if anything goes wrong, he'll be there to make sure we're safe. That's the way police were supposed to be back in the 1830s. The constabulary, just sort of sitting back and letting life happen rather than chasing after people. And so because we don't respect the drug laws, we don't respect law enforcement, and then we don't respect the laws in general. And so lawyers are concerned about degrading respect for the law. And third, and finally, rather than prohibition-based policies which yield disease and illegal markets and unreasonable access by children to dangerous substances, we favor regulation. And so we can appeal to lawyers at large with these types of principles, and no one can argue with them. So we've been able to make some headway there. And look at some other spheres of influence here. Dom, as a very extremely articulate, I really am honored to be with all these folks at this table, has gotten me on a couple TV programs, but here's the key. We know who the right messenger is at the right time. Now, Viv was talking about Dom being a messenger for HempFest. But when it came to pass an initiative in the city of Seattle to make marijuana the lowest law enforcement priority, Dom wasn't the right messenger, and he knew that. But the media knows Dom, so they'd call him. And so he would, by agreement, deflect their calls to me. So I'm the guy in the suit. I'm the guy who doesn't like dealing with those fringy ponytail pot smokers, right? We're trying to protect children, right? We're trying to reduce crime. We're trying to save the public's money. Those are the type of, we don't use the word marijuana that often. We talk about drug policy reform, use multisyllabic words. So when the media called, Dom would deflect the calls to me. So I was sort of the unofficial spokesperson for Initiative 75, and on the AM talk radio and all that sort of thing. And that I think is part of why the initiative passed. We also were able to get the League of Women Voters, another establishment group, to endorse, along with the King County Bar Association, to endorse the initiative. And then, there's a sense of comfort that happens. Like, oh, I got some company, The establishment, the stuffed shirts are supporting this. We're not just voices in the wilderness. And so, again, it's the messenger, not the message, and broadening the coalition, too. And then these geometric concepts where we have spheres of influence, and also it really is a pyramid. And so the grassroots, or whatever, the people are at, again, it's not lesser, but they are the base of the pyramid that holds it up. And you're about to hear from the president of the Seattle City Council, are sort of at the upper part of the pyramid, and we wouldn't be there if it weren't for the bottom, of course. But each of us has a role. Coordination is essential between all of us. And the key thing is that, particularly for the folks near the top of the pyramid, we jealously guard our reputation. So we are arm's length from the ACLU. The ACLU is outside of our coalition. And yet, again, on a daily basis, we communicate very, very effectively with one another. We don't coordinate strategy, we share information. We don't even share resources. But we each have our role that are very carefully defined, but we're very, very cooperative. And Andy Coe, who again couldn't be here, is playing a key role in what we call our drug policy coordinating group, which is becoming more and more important as each of the pieces are put together to effect reform. So we're going to keep pushing. We're on the edge of the envelope. We're on the tippy edge of the envelope. And people say, well, what are you going to do next? And the answer is we need to keep pushing. Because if we're in the lead, if we're planting a flag, and then people come up and meet us, we have to push out and plant the flag even further out. So it's a lot of responsibility for us. My message now, and the culture is ready for this now in the Pacific Northwest, is we need to get marijuana out of the junior high schools. We need to get marijuana out of the, if I want to go get pot, I go to the high school. They won't sell it to me, you know. But so that's my message to the public is, don't you want to get marijuana out of the junior high schools? And people say, yeah. Well, don't you think then we should regulate it as an intoxicant, as we regulate all other intoxicants, and get it out of the hands of kids and reduce the harm, and maybe even make some tax money for the state? And people hesitate there, but they know we're right, you know. And so the message is really starting to seep in, and as sort of the establishment voice, I get access to the judges' chambers, to the editorial board, to the back room of the legislature, and to those sort of brass tops environments that Viv can't get into. And yet Viv's voice is just as important because there are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of folks that listen to him who provide that important base to the pyramid. So we all work together and we all appreciate each other, and we're going to keep pushing. Thanks.
We've got a couple more speakers to go. Our panel didn't get started until about an hour late, but we're going to wrap up soon. We have saved the best for the end here. When Initiative 75 was first filed, we knew that we had to find some people who could stand up for it and champion it, who were not just your run-of-the-mill pot smoker types with ponytails like they would expect them to be. And we went to a number of people, and we got a tepid response from many of those people. But one person who did not hesitate to come on board was a member of our city council. He is the founder of the Civic Foundation, and he currently chairs the Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Arts Committee. He is now the president of the city council. His name, please welcome him, is Nick Licata.
Thank you. And I'm going to ask you to do a couple things before I speak, since we've been sitting here for a while. Why doesn't everybody just stand up and just stretch for a second? There you go, yeah. And if you want to, at the top of your voice, at count of 3, yell out, "Free marijuana!" Free marijuana! Nothing's more close in, who knows? Okay.
Around the corner.
Around the corner, right? There you go. All right, good. You know, in walking in here, I was talking to several people, and I noticed that a number of folks are from all over the country, from Hawaii, from Florida, and I was looking out over here, and I was thinking, really, how would we describe this body? You know, in politics, sometimes we say, well, it's a political party, but it isn't that here, and sometimes in emotional terms, we say, well, we're an army of crusaders, but I hate using the word army. And then, you know, we're not a church. But in the old-fashioned term, we really are, in a true sense, we're a movement being a group of people who share a common vision about what the future should be, and then we're moving in the same direction. Then the question is, well, why are we here? I mean, obviously we're listening to good stories, and we want to get pumped up and want to be able to be a lot more effective in what we do, but we're also learning how to act in a way that can bring victories to what we see down the road, what we want to make this world be. So I want to tell you a story about Seattle and what we did, but I want to also use an analogy. I want to use a sports analogy of all things, ironically. And it sort of helps you think about, when you go back to your own community, what it is that you can do. Now, I always say that the first thing you have to ask yourself is, to move the ball down the field, what do you need? You need a ball. That's very important. And these things are simple. Like, yeah, okay, you need a ball. What is that ball? When you go and talk to a group of people, you start organizing about this. What is it? You need to ask